And now, sports coverage you can count on with a Way 31 sports team.
We knew the Alabama Crimson Tide felt slighted that they didn't make the college football playoff this year, but I don't think we knew what kind of vengeance they would play with today in the Sugar Bowl. Nolan Knight here with Max Cohan, and Max, the Alabama Crimson Tide are Sugar Bowl champions.
Not only champions, dominant champions. They absolutely destroyed this Kansas State team, one that felt pretty high about themselves coming into this game. Bryce Young with an unreal performance, throwing for 5 touchdowns as the Tide win their 10th Sugar Bowl, the most of all time, 45-20.
A commitment to the Crimson to play for each other one last time in the Sugar Bowl.
We all made a promise to each other that we'll play and that we'll go out and compete one last time with each other. So it was a really sweet moment for all of us.
But their Sugar Bowl didn't start as sweet as they would have liked, as the Wildcats jumped out to a 10-0 lead in the first quarter. That, of course, was highlighted by an 88-yard explosion from Deuce Vaughn. But that's when Alabama would respond. After missing a few passes early in this one, Bryce Young would finally find his groove. Jahmyr Gibbs across the middle and down the sideline to set Alabama up first and goal, which put the Tide's game plan back on the tracks. This drive capped off with another beauty for Young. He finds Isaiah Bond in the back of the end zone to put Alabama on the board and begin a stretch of scoring 35 unanswered points. From there, the former Heisman winner played lights out in what could be his final game for the Crimson Tide. Deep ball to Jermaine Burton to set up the Crimson Tide for another red zone trip. And it's another score. Young to Cameron Latu in the flats and then into the end zone. The Tide out in front in a blink of an eye, 14-10. That's when Kansas State needed a response. They would put together an 18-play drive that would bring them all the way down to the 2-yard line, but they would turn the ball over on downs after Will Howard missed on a wide-open receiver. And with just 58 seconds left on the clock in the half, the momentum shifted. It took just 7 plays and 48 seconds for the Tide to go 98 yards, capping things off with the Jermaine Burton strike to give the Tide a 21-10 lead at the half.
And that was a huge swing in a game for us to stop them on 4th down and then go 98 yards in less than a minute and score a touchdown. But we do practice it.
In the second half, the onslaught continued, with Bryce Young reminding the nation that he's got an arm that speaks for itself, throwing for 2 more scores, including this 47-yard connection with Kobe Prentice to put the game away. The California native hosted a passing clinic which included 5 scores and 321 yards, earning him Sugar Bowl MVP and giving him the second most passing touchdowns in Crimson Tide history. It was a statement win that Alabama players say proves they should have been playing for more.
This is a big win for us. It shows that, for one, we was disrespecting and not getting the playoffs. Even though we shot our own selves in the foot, we still had a chance to get in the playoffs, and everything had happened. And I feel like the committee didn't want us in there. And for us to show that we're way better than Kansas State, that's huge for us. And we're just going to keep on grinding from here out.
And there were a multitude of reasons that the Crimson Tide wanted to come out and dominate today. First and foremost, I think, trying to prove the committee wrong, saying they deserved a spot in the top 4 teams in the nation, earning what would have been a college football playoff berth. And lastly, sending Will Anderson and Bryce Young out on a high note in what was more than likely the final time they'll ever wear the crimson and white.
Yeah, it was a great game for the Crimson Tide. I think fans will remember this one for a long, long time. Of course, not every team in the country gets to finish their season out with the win. The Crimson Tide do just that. That's going to wrap up our coverage from New Orleans, Louisiana. For Max Cohan, I'm Nolan Knight with Way 31 Sports.